Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 585. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Ahoy.
and Tony Korkanakis.
Yo, yo, yo.
I give you the, I give you the shooter.
It's sort of
Shooter!
like this or whatever. It's like
I don't know where it's going to appear on there.
towards me.
On my screen, Mike's over here, you're here, and then Tony's there. But who knows how this is going to appear for those guys? Yeah. Welcome, listeners and viewers. If we're on Twitch, starting at 8 o'clock, MovieCast first, usually Gamecast second. We're on Twitch, so hopefully you guys are joining us on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. We try to, start on time, and we do usually, so we were today. And welcome for those watching, and welcome to those listening, because we're on YouTube the next day, and, Spotify and iTunes after that as well the next day. But this is the Gamecast 585. So it's been an interesting week. I could not get to GameStop until yesterday. I know, I was so annoyed. Like, it was a very, very busy week involving a broken windshield. It was just a crazy week. Yeah, I broke, by the way.
How did you break a windshield?
Yeah,
Fly
I mean,
through
we're
it?
talking. No, trying to break up the ice on it, and I just
Oh,
tapped it just right.
Wow.
And
you should just said you flew through it.
I should have. But yeah, so it was a very busy weekend with that, and because of that, I didn't have time to make it over to pick up the game until yesterday, which I installed then.
What game?
And I was,
A game came out?
yeah, the game.
What game?
Elden Ring, by the way.
Who?
Those
What?
listening. Yeah, so Elden Ring came out. Tony raved about it. This is not my game at all, and it was
All
hilarious.
raving about it. Like,
This was hilarious. So I went to go pick this up at GameStop. I gotta tell you this experience. The kid there was like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, "I'm gonna pick up my pre-order." He's like, "Oh yeah, okay." So I remember you pre-ordered this. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Is this any good? I'm like, "Well, I'm just picking this up now." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "I've been looking at it." I'm like, "Well, it's fine, man." I'm like, "I hate Souls." And then he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I effing hate these games. Like, I absolutely do." And then there's a woman next to me with her son, like, trying to buy games, and then she's like, "Well, then why are you buying this game?" And I'm like, and
It's
so
a
I'm
good
like,
question.
listen, because for the last week, all I've heard is how amazing this game is. My friends are like, fucking play it. So I'm like, I'm gonna get this game and give it a try and cause myself a massive headache. That's exactly what I said.
To be fair, you've only ever tried one of them, so I think
Sure.
you hate the idea of them more than you actually.
Wait, Sekiro, is that the one you're talking about that you tried?
I only tried Sekiro. Yes, that's true. So yeah, I mean, it's been a little while, and I got to try it today. So I installed it last night with the updates and everything like that. So I didn't even try to play it because I was exhausted. But of course, work's been busy. I got to try it today. But Tony, I mean, you've got more of a Corey, you didn't get this game, right? Okay, so Tony's got more of a experience with this game to begin with. So go ahead and kick us off here. You've been playing this game. What do you think?
Oh, it is amazing. It's hard to describe in words. It really is. But it definitely gives me the similar feelings that Breath of the Wild did 5 years ago, where it's like, this is a game that encourages exploration, and honestly, like, a map is optional. You could just be like, whatever, I see something in the distance, I'm gonna go there and check it out and stuff like that. Sometimes you'll be rewarded with like an NPC, it gives you like a quest or something like that, or could be like a dungeon, it could be like some ruins and there's like a hidden item or spell or something like that. And obviously, there's a lot of monsters, a lot of mini bosses, just shit in general that can kill you and will kill you, and you will die. But it's all fun. It really is. I think what's going to be the difference between previous Souls games and this game for you in particular, Jim, is that it's not as punishing when you die. So, like, just for an example, when I die in, like, Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3, and I have to run back to my body or the boss, it could be, like, 1 to 3 minutes just getting back to the boss, where it's like, okay, I gotta run past all these dudes, hope they don't kill me, hope they don't, hit me, so I'm wasting a potion on the way to the boss, so I can get my souls back, and stuff like that. Whereas this one, they're pretty generous with their checkpoints and stuff like that. And also there's fast travel, and it's not like in previous games you had to get to one of the bonfires or something to warp to another one. In this game, it's just as long as you're not in combat, it's like boop, I want to go here, just like in Zelda. It's like I want to go there, and then you can just get there. So it's a lot of quality of life improvements there and stuff like that. But don't get me wrong.
Respecting the gamer's time.
Yep, it's respecting the time. And the other thing, cool thing too, is they introduced these little statues. I forget what they're called, but they're placed pretty close to bosses or overworld bosses and stuff like that, where maybe the bonfire equivalent, it's called the Grace in this game, would be a trek, but in this it's like, hey, if you die, you're going to spawn like pretty much right in front of the boss, and you can just get back into it. Because, like I said, one of the most annoying things about dying to a boss in Souls games was, shit, not only did I die, and not only are my experience points / currency at risk of, being lost to the sands of time, now I got to trek through all this fucking bullshit again and stuff like that. So, it just...
When you die in this game, you don't lose your experience points?
Oh, no, they drop. They drop where you die.
It's Final Fantasy, right?
They drop. No. So what happens is they drop on the ground, and you have to go back to the spot and pick them up again. But if you die before you get there, then they're lost forever. So you can kiss them goodbye.
Oof, that's. But like I said, if you die, it's usually a boss.
It's pretty close to it. I mean, I have lost. I have lost my rune. They're called runes in this game. I think I've lost them about 3 times so far. One time I had like 2 levels worth. I was pretty mad actually. But that's my own fault for not respecting the enemies. But in other terms, like the combat is fantastic, amazing. There's so many weapons, so many spells. Just
there's a lot.
There is a lot.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed right now, and I've only really played through the tutorial area / probably a little further than that. Not much further.
It is really it's really funny how much like I feel they played Breath of the Wild and was like, all right, we need to replicate a lot of this. Like that first starting area is like the equivalent of the plateau. It's like, oh, here you go. Like here's what a grace is. Here's a church with an NPC.
I'm really glad that I chose to jump in the first part so I can get a tutorial, because I bet you could skip that.
Oh yeah, I skipped that. I didn't realize it was a tutorial. I just like
I chose wisely.
Yeah.
So sort of, but I love how this game started off with you dying.
That's traditional. Yeah. That's how every game starts out, really.
Listen, I'm not. I mean, yes, Sekiro. Obviously, I remember that happening. But this is your first boss encounter. I'm walking through the beginning of this game, and I'm like, all right, what's gonna kill me first? And then like this boss comes out, and I'm like, I don't even know how to swing a freaking weapon right now. Yeah. And and then you die, and I'm like, it's taking forever to load, and I'm like, don't tell me this is like massive load times for coming back to respawn, 'cause I will not love this game. But then I'm like, realize, it's like a cutscene happening. That's why. So, and I'm like, it's scripted. Okay, I just died instantly anyways. I'm sure you could have held up a good fight before you died, but not me. I died instantly.
I died pretty fast. You're supposed to. If you even hit him, like it was a sliver of health. So you're just like, okay, just kill me. Like
whatever. No, it's been fun so far. Interesting world. Looks good. I did frame rate. It's over quality. Again, I'm more onto the frame rate band.
For this game, you really need the frame rate. Just
it's so fluid. It does take me. I'm getting used to the heavy, weak attack. Not getting over
greedy.
What do you mean? Greedy. Thank you. I'm not getting the greed factor happens, and then I'm like, then you get hit, and you're like, what am I thinking here? Just swipe and go, swipe and go, swipe and go. That's it. That's it. So, Who did you pick for your class?
Was it Adventurer or Hero or Warrior? That was it.
Warrior.
High Dex. Okay. I love Dex weapons because I really like the critical hits because that improves your finishers and stuff like that. But in this game, one of the things I will warn you about, the first boss is quite the hurdle. I died to him an embarrassingly amount of times. And I was probably a little cocky about it too. I was like, it's the first boss, like, whatever. And then he just proceeded to stomp the hell out of me. Some friends of mine were watching, like, I thought you played all these other games before. I was like, yeah, I have. Thanks. And the first boss was just really bad.
Yeah.
You're in for a treat. But like, that's down in the distance. That's down in the distance. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that's my goal. Get used to the combat first and
Yes.
enjoy that for a little bit, and then
Yes.
I picked samurai
Okay.
first, which is kind of like
It's
it's
good
got
all
dex.
arounder. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That's why I chose that. And I actually did watch a video just real quick explaining what those were before I even started playing this game to kind of give me an idea of what I was in for.
Yep.
And I thought that was a good balance for what I was looking for. I like the class usually as samurai. That kind of in Final Fantasy 11, that was as soon as they came out with those subclasses, I rolled that immediately. I just love that. You know, I love samurai stuff. So,
Yes.
you know, but it's cool so far. It's interesting. So, you know, I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see. We'll see how this goes next week, guys.
An hour?
Yeah, an hour.
Yeah.
It's an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just out of the first area, really.
Tony,
What was that?
how far are you in? How many?
Hard to gauge. Hour wise, 20 something I'd say, low 20s.
You feel the story has been worth the hype with George R. R. Martin?
No, because what actually happened was Izaki actually only used J.R.R. Martin for the concept and the basis. Like basically, like, hey, I need like the background information for a world. You know, just the premise.
Build a world for
He
me.
was
Right.
He was basically what they did with whatchamacallit? What's the Amalur? Amalur?
Yeah.
Remember they brought in RL. Who did he bring in?
Salvatore.
Salvatore. Yeah, R.A. Salvatore. Same idea. It was a reference thing for just building a world behind.
Yeah.
I was reading that story today. I'm like, that just sounds exactly what they did with George R. R. Martin, which is fine with me because he needs to write his fucking book anyway.
No, he does.
So that's good.
He
That's
does.
good.
Who cares at this point?
I know.
No, I absolutely.
I can't. I want it. We all come on. We all. Corey, that book comes out. You buying it?
No.
No.
Oh my god, I'm still buying the book, guys. Seriously.
I'm pirating the
Come
shit
on.
out of that.
Ah.
For making me wait that
Anyways.
fucking long, I'm pirating the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Anyway, so that was the other thing at the GameStop. I was like, this game checks all of the boxes for me, with the exception of it being a Souls game, and I just fucking hate them. That's what I told the guy. I'm like, I hate them. I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
But
So you don't like open world games either.
oh, that's true. That's true.
Jim says that, but he winds up playing them. So
But I do end up playing a lot of them. Yes. We guys, seriously, I've been playing a lot of open world games, and I've enjoyed
every
them.
box, including the cons. So the cons are filled and the pros are filled.
Checks, yeah.
This is like perfect storm for me, right? I should love this game then. Everything's checked. It's all checked. But we'll see more how it goes this week. I get to play it a lot. My goal is to play a Saturday morning is going to be a lot of playing this game. Finally, I get to sit down, empty house, playing this game. So it's going to be fun. And before I see the Batman, but
One last thing I did want to touch about was I'm playing it on PC, and I have a really good computer. I have a RX 3070, 32 gigs of RAM, stuff like that. The PC performance has been a little wanton. There's some stuttering, and normally, like I really wouldn't mind like some dips and stuff like that. But in a game like Souls, where like that can mean life or death, literally life or death, I'm just like, I don't know about this one, boys. So I'm hoping some performance patches come out soon.
They're pulling it off tonight, actually, isn't it? Or today? It was yesterday and today it was off, wasn't it?
Is it just on PC that the performance issues are happening, or is it?
No, apparently.
Yeah, no, I think it's that.
Well,
I
it's mostly on
actually
PC.
saw that the a lot of reviewers said the first patch actually made it worse.
Really?
Like the post-launch patch, because in their review build it was better. It still was the same type of thing, but the one once that released, they said it made it worse. And they who was it? Was it one of those guys, ACG maybe, actually lowered it from buy to wait till later because of it. I think it might be a little dramatic, but yeah. So,
well, not if it's based on the. I mean, this game is a frame rate game, like Tony said. Like,
Sure.
and like I never once sat on the I saw the quality toggle, and I'm like, no, I'm just going frame rate without a doubt. This is a timing game.
No, yeah.
I knew that, so
this is absolutely one of those things. But
I find it like. Go on.
Sorry.
What?
Apparently, people are saying if you play the PS4 game, copy of the game, on the PS5, don't do like the free upgrade or whatever like that. Like that's the best version of the game to play because it's a locked 60 FPS experience or something like that.
Oh
So,
wow.
Yeah.
I'm I really want to play through this game and finish this game, and it to open a world of Souls for me.
I
Like
want you to
be like,
I
oh
want you to work
yeah,
your way back. You know.
yeah.
I want you
I'd
to work
love to
your way
be able
back.
to love this game, but we'll see. I've done hard games. I mean, Ori
I know,
and
that's
the
what
Will
I'm
of the Wisps
saying.
were tough games.
Like
I've
it's
done
just,
it.
I think it's just the reputation intimidates. Or
I think it's also a lot of the soul get good shit. I don't
Sure,
care about that. Yeah, I mean that pisses me off more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them the time of day. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be good. I want to be like I want to enjoy the game. I want to enjoy the game.
It's
So
really weird because like there are those people
relative.
on social platforms that will say like get good and stuff like that. But honestly, if you dig into like the Souls community, like the YouTube videos, like the content creators, like the official subreddit and stuff like that, like people will help you in this game. They'll be like, well, hey, what's your stats? What's your build? You know, stuff like that, and give you recommendations and stuff like that. And that's a beauty. What I think will help Elden Ring is that now it's like, hey, like I'm stuck in this area. It's like, well, okay, you know what? Go to this area. Mobs will be easier. You can level up easier here, and probably fight a boss or two over there, rather than to just like face this gigantic wall of like the boss, which stops your story progression. So that's my guess. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
We'll see. I have to get online again. I forgot how much a paywall game Xbox Live is when you don't pay for it at first. I have tons of cards for Game Pass, by the way. I haven't
you need Xbox Live?
Yeah.
For what?
To play it online. Yeah. Play it online.
You're not playing multiplayer though.
Not right now, but I do think I want to put that on there.
No,
so
you don't.
yeah, I'm gonna try all of this aspect. I'm gonna try all of this. I'm gonna try. Mike, I don't like the game style. Like I don't like the Souls games to begin with. I might as well do it all.
I didn't even feel like I wanted to do the multiplayer in Deathloop, which is kind of the same invasion idea, where someone comes to fuck up your day pretty much from the outside. I don't know. If you wanted a hard game that was more bite-sized, you should have just played Sifu, I think, but we'll see.
No, it's not my style. Neither is this though. But the thing, the draw for this game was the amount of raving reviews this has gotten. Jason Schreier said it's like one of the top games of all time. Huh?
The peer pressure got to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I
mean,
we're all going to reap the rewards of how much I can complain about this game. I'm going to stick to it, so we'll see.
I mean, that's fair. Like when games like that come out, like God of War, I had zero interest in really. Like I can't give two shits about that. But the game got a really high reviews. I tried it out. And I was pleasantly surprised.
It's not even the reviews. It's the praise. I don't read reviews for this stuff. It's the praise it gets.
Right, but I'm saying
and
like,
that's really what gets me. Yeah,
games like this caliber, like they kind of go hand in hand, right? Like not always. But
I mean, just like everybody is talking about how fantastic it is, and like people that you respect in the industry are talking about it, and it's like so it makes it more interesting, and definitely a game that you, especially with the comparisons to Breath of the Wild, it's a game that's more interesting for people that wouldn't necessarily be interested in a game like this.
And I love Breath of the Wild, so there we go.
I plan on playing this game at some point, but there's too much stuff right now.
Yeah, no durability, like no breakable weapons.
That's it. No breakable weapons. Yes, this is Breath of the Wild with no break. This is what I want. So here we go.
There you go. So when you're getting your shit pushed in by the first boss, just remember it. It's because you don't have breakable weapons. That's the game balance.
Damn it. All right, we'll see. Okay. Anyways, Corey, what have you been playing?
Well, The Witch Queen came out for Destiny 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I've been playing a lot of that, and that is really good. Like, this is, like, again, I keep saying this, but Destiny just keeps getting better.
This is like their
the best
expansion. Yeah, I've heard that's the best it's been, yes.
It is really well done. And as far as, like, the story goes, like, if you don't know what's going on in the story, it can be pretty confusing. But there are a lot of videos out there and like people explaining stuff. But the story's always been really good in Destiny, and it just continues here, and it makes you feel like what you're doing matters, which is I think really important, because it is a lot of the same stuff. But because of the story, I do think that it makes it more impactful. And they introduced weapon crafting. It's funny because now you're leveling up weapons, and it's like, wow, we're going back to D1, guys. We have to level up our weapons. So it's gonna come full circle a little bit. But yeah, it's gameplay is great. They're redoing all the subclasses, starting with Void. So Void is a completely more RPG like. They went back to being more adaptable, and like you can configure it differently. You can change things up where
This is a
in
class?
D, yeah, the class like in
So it's a
D2.
fourth class.
No. Well, there are four classes, but they revamped one of the four classes. It's called Void 3.0.
Oh, I thought
Basically.
Destiny 1 only had 3 classes. Am I wrong on that?
Destiny 1 had 3. Destiny 2 had 3 to begin with, and they added a fourth.
Okay, I missed that news, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
so,
cool.
which it's because the 3 classes are the light, and the fourth class is the darkness. So you're actually harnessing darkness for the fourth class. But what's interesting in this story is with the Witch Queen, the Hive, which is the darkness enemy, they now have light powers. So you are fighting Hive's champions with like golden guns and blade barrages and like shield gnashing and stuff. So it's like they're using your supers against you.
That's cool.
And then
They
have these other, they have these moths that are like Savathun's, kind of like her light that she gives like, a little bonus powers to these enemies, and so they'll glow. And when you damage them, the moths will like get shot out of them, but they're more powerful. And then you have to destroy the moths, otherwise the moths will hurt you too. So it's a lot of interesting gameplay elements.
That's
and
cool.
Then they've also introduced the glaive, which is a melee weapon in first person, which Bungie's never done a melee weapon in first person before. So that's interesting because it also has like a range attack as well as melee, in close attack. And so all these new things are just adding to what Destiny's doing, and like Bungie just has they just know how to make, encounters, and every encounter is extremely fun. And yeah, it's been really enjoyable. All the new stuff is good. We've talked about it before, but they've removed things from this, like then they've added stuff. So all the stuff they've added has been very, very neat, and would highly recommend if you have played Destiny, or if you liked in the past, this is really good. So
yeah, so like that's part of the question I had was like, what's like a catch up mechanic? Do they have something like that? Like let's say like somebody was like, I want to play Destiny 2. Like how long would it take them to get up to that kind of boost
so basically they do seasons now, which they started last
Diablo
last
did.
year.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you're gonna have seasons, and every season everyone starts out the same. So no matter what character you make, you're starting at the season 1, like level 0
Gotcha.
of the season. So everybody's at 1350 light essentially, and so you have options. There's new light is the mission. Like when you first start out, it basically goes through a lot of the beginning missions to help you get the tutorial, get familiar with the game, and then you can just jump into whatever story stuff you want to do, including that season story. And yeah, so each season is essentially the ground level, and you can all just start over from the beginning.
That's
essentially.
Cool.
So yeah,
that's cool.
It's like you don't feel like you're behind at all.
That's the worry that I would run into, but yeah. That's pretty good they did that. So cool. All right, Mike.
Okay, so I so I finally got the bones, at least, of my game room basement done, which included for my birthday, like 4 or 5 months ago, 4 months ago or something like that. I got a big ass TV, and now since I have that set up down there, 4K and all that nonsense.
Finally.
Yeah. I decided, all right, it's time to get Horizon Forbidden West. Unfortunately, they were sold out at GameStop. I couldn't do the PS4 to upgrade to PS5 to save me money. I tried to do it on the store digitally, but the PS4 version, at least when you're looking with the PlayStation 5, is hidden somewhere I can't find. So I gave up and paid the extra $10, but fuck you, Sony, for that, because I'm too impatient.
Why don't you just use the app?
But what app?
The PlayStation app.
I don't know what that is.
It's an app. That's PlayStation.
Well, whatever.
It might be just as hard to find out. Who knows?
I saw like on the screen, like there was literally YouTube video where it's just choose edition, but that edition didn't come up for me when I looked while on the PlayStation 5, so they fucked me. But anyway, so I started the game. I've played about 3 or 4 hours, and obviously it looks crazy. especially on this new TV for me.
I saw clips, and it is probably the best looking game I've ever seen.
It looks really amazing.
Yeah,
It
I
really
mean,
does.
Cyberpunk looked good on the TV before I bought it too. So
Right.
uh,
I'm trying to convince. See, I'm trying to make this a wedding registry item. Like,
TV?
I need a PS5. I want a PS5. Like, I want to play Horizon because this game looks so good. But go on.
yeah. The first, I will say, the early tutorial stuff is pretty long.
Yeah, I heard the
Like
intro's
there's,
like 3 hours or something like that.
yeah, it's a, I don't know what if you would call what I'm doing now still the intro because I'm in like the first open-ish area you're allowed to be in, basically, and everything I find is like, oh, you found how this weapon works, or this is how that game that's gonna be kind of like Gwent works. Like
Hmm.
I'm in like the first sort of open-ish area finally, and it feels a lot better now because the initial mission was annoying, and but it looks good. And what's interesting is they reintroduced you in this early spot to a lot of the characters from the first game that you vaguely remember because they weren't great in the first game. Honestly, the supporting characters. If the only character most of us remember is Erend, if you remember him, the guy with the mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everyone else is kind of like who, what?
It's like you were the
But
tribe leader, I think, of the one city or something like that.
yeah, but you get kind of like a crash course in them, and they're just so much better already. And the little interactions you have with them, it's like, oh, I'm gonna remember you now, not from the whole other game I just played,
There
or I
weren't
should
really
have.
any. That was like one of the weaker aspects of the first game, in my opinion.
Sure.
Was the
Yeah,
characters.
they're definitely more alive and they feel more important now. And there's a few dialogue options that are like where you actually choose: do you want to be a dick? Do you want to be nice? Do you want to be pragmatic? Or kind of like the choices. And I was nice to the first two people from the older game that I've had the option to. I don't know if it matters at all, but other than what you say, but
Doubtful.
it's an interesting change of pace. I haven't gotten to anything where like the gameplay is drastically different yet. I did drown myself accidentally in an underwater area because I think I need to upgrade to like some sort of breather, which I don't have yet. So that's going to be interesting. But game looks great. There was there's something called discovery mode where you it doesn't show you as much on the map, like where you can just kind of wander. But the map is pretty dense too, so if you wander, you'll run into something pretty quickly. And so it looks fun, and it looks like it's going to take forever, and that's good.
What are
Sounds
the
good.
gameplay differences from the first one to this one that you can tell?
I don't know. I don't know yet because I haven't done what the major things are: the swimming and underwater areas.
AI
Uh,
though.
the AI, you don't have a whistle anymore, but you can throw rocks instead.
I
You
understand
can't
that, but
whistle.
like, how dumb are the humans?
I haven't fought a human yet.
Okay, like that's like
Um,
that was my biggest gripe. Like the machines I get because it's like they're a machine, but the humans acted the same way. So that was my big. I would hope. I'm
no,
looking for variety.
there's the machines seem slightly more aggressive now than last time too. Like they'll get on top of you pretty quick once you blow away your cover. But when I'm playing on hard, there's like another four difficulty options. I chose hard instead of
Okay.
normal, just 'cause, but not the hardest. So we'll see how it goes. Again, like the biggest difference is there's a lot more skill tree stuff. There's a few more melee options I can tell early, and then yeah, there's underwater stuff. There's climbing stuff and a grapple thing. I don't know how I feel about that yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
it definitely there was a section where you get a full-on puzzle with the grapple slash climbing in an area. You had to like move a crate, pull it down, and find a hole. So there's more stuff going on for sure. But I'm really not very far in the game at all yet. So I'm looking forward to it. And who knows? Maybe if I get done with it in a month or two, I'll check out that other game. But we'll see.
Okay. All right. Let's get into a little bit of news we have. First things first, Steam Deck finally launched. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe was delivering some Steam Decks. Good for him. Awesome. Signed by him. Unfortunately, there has been some problem with controller drift, I heard. Is that a widespread issue or just a few units so far? We don't know yet,
just
right?
one person posted a video, but
Yeah. We don't even know how many got out. How many did they?
We don't know how many they made. Yes. So is it affecting every console? Who knows? But the problem with that one is, like Tony, you'd said, the Joy-Con drift was an issue. It definitely was, but you can at least send the Joy-Cons back, to get them fixed. Yeah, you could replace them. There's no option here to replace that, so that's a big problem. That's a huge problem. So we'll see what they do. That gets addressed. I'm sure they're going to replace the units, but how many units do they have? Again, it goes back to what are they making? Chip shortages right now are insane. I really hope we get caught up on things, because as a shopper just in the auto industry right now trying to look for cars, it's not fun out there with these chip shortages. And then also, I would love to get a computer, build my own PC kind of thing, and nope, not happening with the graphics cards. Yeah, no, you have to now. You have to, unfortunately. But I love building my own stuff, so I don't know. So unfortunately, chip shortages. Yeah. Other news, we've got two new Pokemon games announced. So we've got Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet coming out in an open world-esque environment.
Open world.
Now, this is more mainline Pokemon game, though, right? Like, this seems to me like this was going to be the next evolution of the Pokemon games, not the one that you had played recently, Tony, but like in the same universe.
Yeah, Arceus, yeah.
Yeah,
Arceus was kind of like a twist. It's like, hey, what if we made a Pokemon game that was kind of like Monster Hunter? Because that's what it is. Like, you're slow. Like, there's only one town. You're trying to explore, a region to make it hospitable for humans and stuff like that. But it's all old Pokemon and stuff like that. It's just a new story. It's centered around its story.
Yes. So this one's going to be
new Pokemon, new region, all that stuff. So,
which is cool. One of the best-selling games this year, I'm sure, coming out later this year, this fall, I believe. Yeah. Interesting they announced that, and it was a surprise announcement. I have to say, I was like, wow, they just dropped it.
People were expecting it because the thing is, at this point, the Pokemon IP Machine really has to work all the components inside of it, and I would say like the merchandise, the video games, obviously, the anime, the card, all that stuff has to work together, because you can't have a game being delayed and then all of a sudden the anime team has to work, on their own stuff, and like they can't be like, well, we can't not air these episodes because that would be stupid, but if we show them, it's going to be stupid because then people would be like, oh, well, it's all about the new region and the new Pokemon, but that game's not going to come out for another year because it got delayed and stuff like that. So it's unfortunately, one of the things that has to happen these days. And I know every time it happens now, people online are just like, oh, Game Freak needs to give the devs more time. And it's like, you don't understand. They're the ones that make the schedule. It's like, hey, we need to launch this stuff in this year, blah, blah, blah. And that's what happened. So I think the timing was people were expecting new gen, but they were surprised it was the end of this year. The expectation was early next year. So,
no, I mean, I think it, like you said, I think the last one got delayed, and that's what caused the crunch in terms of the two games in the same year. Yeah. That's what happened. COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we get it.
Yeah, because I mean, like the thing is, like this one, the last one, Arceus was I don't want to say a spin-off, but it wasn't like a direct main, like no new Pokemon.
No, it was.
It was like its own.
Don't make a sequel to that too. Like this will be like its own thing. Right. Like it's going Call of Duty. No, not annually, but I'm saying it will have the two teams working on its own versions.
Right, and that's the thing is they have two teams that work concurrently on different Pokemon games, so it's always working. The machine is always working and stuff like that.
Yep, that's what'll happen. So, and then as you mentioned, the next gen. We had talked about today again. Switch 2.
I'm so tired of talking about this, but this has to be pretty credible because it's stolen information from NVIDIA.
Eventually, they are going to release a new hardware. They have to. They have to.
They did release new hardware. Let's not forget.
Sure, better performance. And this one has ray tracing, which would be awesome. So this new chipset looks great. This is what we talked about before. I just can't see Nintendo games with ray tracing. Like, wow. So do you think they announced that? Do you think it comes out next year?
No.
Or will it be 2024?
No, I think we're looking like what we're seeing is reference to the Switch Pro.
You think it'll be this year?
Absolutely.
So
Watch it with
Breath of the
Zelda,
Wild
dude.
2 would be a hybrid game again? There it is. I do agree with you that it could be a hybrid game.
That's the
Every
best way to
Zelda's
do it.
got to be a hybrid game, Jim.
There's one a generation with it, yes. So they always make them not crossplay, but hybrid.
They've always done like launching a new revision. Like they launched Majora's Mask with the new 3DS XL, I believe, and stuff like that. So it's an easy way to get hardware sold up.
If that's the case, I'm going to make another. I'd love to make a bold prediction on this podcast right now that we're going to get another Mario game this year. An Odyssey 2.
It could be. It could be an Odyssey 2. It honestly could be an Odyssey 2 because we don't know what EPD is working on, and they're the studio that does it. Like, there was never DLC for Mario Odyssey, which is super weird. Like, super weird. Game that sold 20 million plus copies, no DLC for it. Zelda got DLC, Mario Kart got DLC. Like, Mario Odyssey was like ARMS got fucking DLC, and that sold sub 10 million and stuff like that. So it's really weird. And we know they're working on like the Mario Kart DLC now, but like that's not a full-fledged like all hands on deck kind of effort. So they're working on something.
This makes the most sense for me that they, if this hardware is to be believed, again another both platforms launch for this. The Mario and the Zelda game will launch on the Switch 2.
Oh man, that'd be so crazy to get that again.
It'll line up. Whatever they're gonna call it.
I don't think they would even want to do that. I don't think they would want to cannibalize each other like that.
No, they wouldn't. Not cannibalizing anything. They just sell like fucking. Both of them will sell at the same time. It's not cannibalizing each other.
I think it is a little bit.
No.
Odyssey Pro / Switch 2, whatever. Do you think it's more in line with the, Xbox One X type thing?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So you're still gonna get, like, every game is gonna be on both systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'll be.
Switch Pro.
I think they'll still. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think what they'll try to do again. We don't know where Series X is going.
As long I could speak pretty confidently that Nintendo games would honestly be like doesn't matter. Like you buy a game, a Nintendo official game, it's playable on both systems. Third-party games, I can absolutely see being like, hey, this is only for Switch Pro and stuff like that. Like you can't tell me like Rockstar isn't salivating at the thought of another system to port Grand Theft Auto 2. You can't tell me that.
No, I'm just saying that I could see Nintendo, and I just see Microsoft doing this as well. Like in a year from now, finally just releasing an Xbox Series X only, or Series S and X game only, and just moving on from the Xbox One platform, the hardware. Just because of the age of the system at that point. I know they said it would always be backwards compatible, but there's always a limit to that.
Like what I mean is, like, yeah, you have like PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4. Like you cannot play PlayStation 5 games on a PlayStation 4.
Right.
Like you can't do that. Whereas, do they want to create hardware that you're not going to be able to play, the new games on the old Switch? I think they are. I think if they're going to do Switch 2 or Switch Pro, I think.
The traditional style.
There's no way.
Not like
zero.
And I'm not saying. I do think. Like what you're saying, Tony, what I'm saying is there will be games that will not be playable on the Switch because you cannot have, because like Xbox One and Xbox One X, you could play everything on both of those systems. Didn't matter. It was just helping with performance.
Right.
There was no game that was exclusive to Xbox One X. Right. So like I don't think that you can do that here. I think that if you're gonna jump hardware, like it's been long enough. You're gonna need to have games that are gonna.
They did that. I mean, but I see like Nintendo has a history of this where they did make this. They did make it compatible, but it doesn't look as good, doesn't run as well, and eventually they moved
Like,
on
games
to
like, exclusive
requiring.
to the new 3DS, right?
I'm just
There
thinking
are
like
games that are
RAM
exclusive to
Pack.
that.
I'm just thinking RAM Pack. Remember the RAM Pack came out and they're
Mm-hmm.
like you didn't need it, but then eventually you did need it for certain games. And I feel like that's the way it will go. Is you'll launch it saying you can play the old stuff for now on that. And not the Switch 2 will always play the older games. It's the other way around. That
Oh,
you, like you
Switch
said,
2 and
eventually the Switch won't play the newer stuff. Eventually, yes, I do see that happening where they just drop it. But they will when they launch. I believe it will be both on. Like Breath of the Wild 2 will be on both systems, the same game. Just play on both. One will play higher res. The other one will, will play the lower res. That's what I see happening for at least for a while. Who knows what the time
Yeah,
frame would
there's
that
no
be?
way they're releasing new hardware and just saying goodbye to 100 million plus users.
I mean, even Sony had to cave and start to do that in terms of like, we're going to give you this version for free, and they had to do that because it's like, it's the time we're in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to support
You have to.
both versions. Yeah,
For at
for
least a
now,
couple
and not
years.
saying you have to
They
do it
are
forever.
different
Yeah,
games, though. Like that's the difference. That's what I'm saying is that's the difference. Though is like
sure.
one game is designed for the better system. Where I mean, it's the same game, but like
Yeah, I got you.
with
I got you.
Horizon, you're not going to be able to play PS5 version on PS4.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I can see that. Like the 4K version or HD, whatever, like HDR, whatever you want to call it. Like, yeah, absolutely. And that's how they're gonna sell it. Like, do you want to play Breath of the Wild in 4K? Do you want to play in HDR?
yes.
Then buy the
that
new
is what
system
they're
and stuff like that, and it's gonna cost probably
Get that ray
$399.
tracing on that.
Yeah, get that ray tracing. You need to see Link with his ray tracing. That's why we didn't put a hat on his head because you got to see his hair moving via ray tracing.
I'm all for that. I'm there for that.
Yeah.
So, that's cool. No, we'll see. We'll see what they do. All right. And that's pretty much it for the news this week. That's it. But it's been a great podcast, guys. It's going to wrap it up for this Tuesday night. So hopefully, if you're not joining us live on Twitch, we're here on Twitch on Tuesday nights again. I'll say it again, 8 o'clock Eastern time, for those wondering. We're on YouTube the following day, as well as our streaming audio, which will be on iTunes, Spotify. So check that out. More great content coming your way, guys. So check us out each week. We'll see you soon.